Italian Rugby Depth Chart, folks, for 2025. This is the last depth chart we're doing. Probably going to be the lowest viewed depth chart video, but maybe not. If you guys get your friends and your uncles and your neighbors to watch this video, maybe not, but we're going to look through Italy. Which players did they use in their 2025 campaign, which had its moments, man. Again, they didn't finish last in Six Nations. They beat the Aussies. They went down to Namibia and had a good result. But yeah, we'll go through the squad. It's pretty stable. I think part of it's because Italy doesn't have the same pool of players to choose from. So they rely more on the same guys. But it is pretty stable and it's very young. Very, very young. Gonzalo Quesada, their coach, is using a bunch of youngsters and he's blooded even more. We'll go through that pretty quick. Talk about it in comparison to some of the other squads and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Loose head prop. Who was your starter last year? It was Fischetti. This year, it is still Fischetti. He gets close to 70% of the game time. That guy is a very important player for Italian rugby. Spagnolo is second. I think it was just the two of them last year. It's largely just the two of them this year, but Hassa and Rizzoli get a few minutes between them. Still mainly two guys at loosehead for Italy, which is pretty much the same as 2024. Hooker, there has been a little bit of a change. Nicotera is still the first choice, but Di Bartolomeo has become your second choice with Lucchese dropping down. I forget if Lucchese spent much of the season injured, but he certainly didn't play as much game time as he did last year. And then Dimichev got some game times towards the end of the year. He is one of the new faces amongst many new faces in the Italian squad for 2025. So a bit of depth being built there. And then tight head prop. It's pretty similar to last year with Ferrari being the main choice. Riccioni, I think, spent a bit of time on the sidelines last year and a little bit this year. He is their second choice. Hassa is one of the guys who came in, and Zilocchi is one of the kind of biggest losers of the squad in terms of the amount of minutes that he played being a big drop from last year. So your key guys of Fischetti, Nicotera, and Ferrari have not changed. I feel like Riccioni probably gets more game time if he's fit, though, because he's a very good scrummaging tight head prop. Locks. Tight head lock, which is number 4 in Italy. How important is Nicolo Cannone? Gets close to 90% of the game time. He is a big physical unit of a player. So he makes absolute sense to play as your premier tight head lock. Lamb, Favretto, and this debutant Opoku Gyamfi. He got a few minutes off the bench in Italy's last game, I think, against Chile. So again, new face coming in, but largely still the front runner is the front runner by a mile. And then loose head lock, there's a little bit more variety in the number 5 jersey with Ruzza, who is one of the kind of handful of 30-plus-year-olds in the squad, still the starter there. Zambonin, Favretto, Canali is another new faces in there, and Dino Lamb as well. I feel like Dino Lamb must have been injured a fair bit because he is low in his minutes as well. But Ruzza and Cannone, you know, these guys dominate the minutes. I'm pretty sure that was the same last year too. Loose forwards is an area where the Italians have a lot of players, and there definitely were some injuries keeping some of your mainstay guys further down than normally. Blindside flanker Sebastian Negri has half the game time, which is very similar to last year. Izikor is second, same as last year. You had Vincent, Zuliani, Lamaro, Favretto, Lucchese. That's in a pinch in a game where they had to move him to the flank. The hooker, Ruzza and Odiase as well, another one of the new faces, was there. So that's a heap of guys who've packed down on the blind side, but the first 3, and plus Zuliani or Lamaro, who fill there in a pinch, are kind of your mainstays. And then open side flanker, you have 2 of the best. That's a good problem to have. Like Wales have got a similar thing with like Jack Morgan and Tommy Reffel. Like for Italy, it's Zuliani and Lamaro. These guys are really good high work rate tackle players. Zuliani's better at the breakdown. He certainly wins more turnovers, but Lamaro is the captain. And he spent some time injured, so normally he would have a lot more than the 36% of the game time he got. But having Zuliani lead a season, I actually don't think is a bad thing, because he's a really special player. Look what he did in South Africa. He was immense. You also had Odiase, Izikor, and Vincent there with a few kind of token minutes, but it's largely your main 2 guys. And then number 8, Lorenzo Cannone, not quite as much game time as his brother, but more than 60%. He swaps places with Ross Vincent, who had more game time than him last year, and then Lamaro has switched in a pinch to number 8 as well. So it's pretty stable. There's no real guys who have absolutely lost their place from last year, replaced by somebody new, except for maybe Zuliani surpassing Lamaro and Kanane surpassing Vincent. Some of that's injury, some of that's selection, but yeah, there's no real massive changes. Number 9 still continues to be an interesting one because there's no real first choice 9 in Italy. It kind of depends on who they're playing as to who the coach picks. Pedrello's got a big boot on him. He's the main choice, but 36%, around a third of the game time. Varney is there, 30%, around about a third of the game time. The two Alessandros, Garbisi and Fusco, get a bit less, but all these guys have had a decent go. So I think you'd be pretty happy. Do you need to have an out-and-out first choice number 9? It might be nice to build a bit of chemistry with Garbisi, being Pablo, the number 10, but you've got some good choices at number 9, certainly some attacking-minded 9s who like to keep the ball moving. Number 10 is about Paolo Garbisi. He gets 63% of the game time. He missed the tour down to Africa. Otherwise, he would have more, but there was a good chance for Giacomo Dare to properly get some time at number 10, because last year, I think Garbisi, as Paolo, had like 90-something%. He played pretty much every game from start to finish at number 10. This year, it's a bit more of a mix. Tommy Allen and Leonardo Marin are also there with a few token minutes at 10, but mostly it's Garbisi and Dare. So it's a good one for depth building. I like having a first choice and a second choice better than just only one guy, especially in a key position like 10. The centers, it's that same combo. Last year, it was much more like only a two-man show with Menoncello and Brex. This year, it's still Menoncello and Brex, like 68% for Menoncello. But he spent a fair bit of time at 13 this year because Brex also didn't travel down to Africa. So Menoncello 68%, Menzanon and Marin also got some time at 12. But Menoncello's sure far and away your first choice. But then second, the outside centers, Brex, down from like 98% last year to 66. Menoncello also played a bit of 13, and then Bertocchini had a little bit of time, very little bit as well. So Menoncello and Brex are still absolutely crucial for Italy and one of the better midfield combos in world rugby, I think. Left wing, it's still Monte Ioane, but again, his numbers are down from last year. More guys got a chance, the likes of JC. Gallagher was there, Bertocchini, Trula. Capuozzo moved to the wing, and Todaro got like 8 minutes in one of his games, one of the new players in. Right wing is again a bit more of a mix. Louis Liner got just over a third of the minutes. Capuozzo played a bit of game time on the right wing too. Belloni, Ioane, Odogwu back from his long-term injury, and then Trula there too. So familiar faces on both wings. First choice has been Ioane and Liner, with a bunch of other guys who have filled in as well. And then fullback Capuozzo is the main choice, but it is a big mix with Allen, Trula, Belloni, and Marin there too. So yeah, it's a very changed depth chart in terms of comparing Italy to everybody else. Most other teams have had somebody who has retired or fallen out of favor or moved abroad so they're no longer eligible or something like that. I don't feel like Italy has a big hole to fill, but they have certainly brought in a bunch of new players like Rizzoli, Hassa, the props, Canali, Odiasi in the lock and loose forwards, Dimichev the hooker, Belloni, Diabatamelo. Like there's a bunch of debutants. There's more. A lot of new faces in the Italy squad. So the coach is bringing in some new faces, which is pleasing. The only guys who are 30 are like Ferrari, Ruzzo, Negri in the forwards, Allen, Brex, and Ioane in the backs. Everyone else, if I'm not mistaken, is like under 30. So it's a young squad, man. Very, very young. The youngest squad of all the ones we've looked at. Up until this point, it's been England who were the youngest. These guys are averaging less than 26 years old. So fingers crossed these guys have not reached their full potential yet and will continue to improve. And some of the new faces will be able to step up and put pressure on. So maybe, the coach is able to rotate more than between just two players and maybe give kind of a first choice, second choice, third choice guy a go. But it is nice to see some of the combinations. Like if you look at the entire 15, most of the first choice guys get more than 50% of the minutes. Like number 1, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. Most of those, the starter gets more than half the game time. In the backs, it's 10, 12, 13, and I guess left wing just barely. The other positions are a bit more of a mix. But yeah, certainly some really, really key guys in terms of how many minutes they get. But yeah, Italy. That's your depth chart for 2025. A young squad with lots of potential. I think you'd be reasonably happy with how they are tracking. They've played some tough teams. They played South Africa 3 times this year, which is certainly not an easy one. But you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you think the potential is looking for Italian rugby? If you like this one, this video needs all the help it can get because the Italian videos don't trend that well. It's a non-English speaking country. This video is in English. So if you can like it, sub to the channel, comment for the algorithm. Please do. I would love to see you there. Take care, folks. Enjoy the new year, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.